Today is July 11th, 2016. In a couple days from now, the new Ghostbusters movie will hit theaters. Now, I wanted to wait until all of the voices surrounding the hatred for this movie calmed down so that I can finally say my piece on it. I wanted to do this earlier, but I kind of wanted to wait until everybody has said their piece on the matter before I said mine. So here is my thoughts on the new Ghostbusters movie. Now, by the time this comes out, it'll be a couple days before the movie officially gets released. And so yeah, here it goes. My thoughts on the new Ghostbusters movie. The original film, which now we're gonna have to call the 1984 Ghostbusters, is a classic, a timeless masterpiece that's funny, entertaining, and overall, it's considered one of the greatest sci-fi comedies ever made. Ghostbusters 2, I personally think was okay. I didn't think it was great, but at the same time, it did keep a lot of the familiarities of the first film, so overall, it was okay. But the long road to Ghostbusters 3 almost seemed like a lost cause. Some people didn't want to do it, other people just kept on rewriting the movie. Somebody died before the movie could be made. It was stuck in developmental hell. But now we have a new Ghostbusters movie. First of all, I honestly don't understand why we need to have a new Ghostbusters movie. I really honestly don't. It's Is it just fan service or what? I don't really know what it is. It's causing a lot of controversy, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only person who's making a video about this. I'm just thinking like why do we need another why do we need this movie? And I mean, like, think about it for a second. It carries the same name, Ghostbusters. The title implies that it's a remake. And let's think about this for a second. Think of other movies that have the same title as the original. For example, Halloween, Friday the 13th, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, A Nightmare on Elm Street, RoboCop, The Hills Have Eyes. Any movie that has the same title as the original is almost guaranteed to throw someone off. They'll be like, hey, this is an original movie, when it's not at all. If it's a reboot or a movie that's completely different, that's one thing. But first of all, you don't need to use the same name as the original, and second, you don't need to confuse people into thinking that it's an original movie when it's not. Movie buffs know which one is the original and which one is the remake, but the common viewer doesn't know that, which automatically makes it confusing for people who are trying to buy these movies or rent them on DVD. Sometimes they're even remakes of sequels, and on rare occasions, sequels to the remakes. Supposedly, this is a reboot, but technically speaking, it's four friends going out to stop ghosts. And yeah, exactly a remake. But it's not just a remake. It's actually what James Wolfe called a name make. What he was saying in his video was that the title it carries the same name as the original, but without tying it into anything, without calling it something different. And you think like, okay, why couldn't they call it like Ghostbusters The Next Generation, Ghostbusters Re-Energized, or the Top Ghostbusters, or something kind of along those lines? But, just calling it simply Ghostbusters, you're not doing anything with a name, you're just kind of keeping it there. You know how my phrase is saving you from bad movies one movie at a time? And that's true. I still stand by that phrase that I created. But this time, guys, I'm not gonna see it. I refuse. I'm not seeing it. And you're probably saying, oh, he's just gonna come up with the same reasons that we've already heard. Feminism. Oh, he's not seeing it because it's an all-female cast. Blah 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 blah. Actually, my reasoning for not seeing this new Ghostbusters movie is actually different. And I'll get to that in a second. My reasoning for not seeing it is not because the cast is all female, which is fine. I don't really mind too much if it was a parody. And this query is not a parody, it's a remake. It's fine if it's an all-female cast. That's one thing if done right. But from what I've been seeing from the trailers, it's not promising at all. It's not because of the story. Because the story looks okay from what I've been seeing from trailers. Supposedly, there's like this device that takes every single ghost and amplifies it to like 20. And at first you may think, well, this sounds cool, but actually it sounds stupid. I'm not seeing any reason to care about it. I'm just not. My reasoning for not seeing this has nothing to do with the fact that it's an all-female cast. It has nothing to do with the fact that you people think I'm a sexist. I'm not sexist. I'm not sexist. It has nothing to do with the storyline. It has nothing to do with the cast. It has nothing to do with the whole, like, reboot, remake thing that apparently I said a minute ago I was against. And it also has nothing to do with anything that everyone else has already said. My reasoning as to why I will not see this new Ghostbusters movie, get ready for this, is simply because of the fact that it is not Ghostbusters. It's just that simple, guys. When I think of Ghostbusters, I think of Ray, Winston, Egon, Peter, Louis Tully, and Miss Potts. Those are the things I think about when I think of Ghostbusters. I don't think of Melissa McCarthy. I don't think of that blonde chick. I don't remember her name. I don't think of Chris Helmsworth as the secretary guy who wants to be a Ghostbuster too. I don't think of that, like, Uncle Sam looking like Ghost. I don't think of any of that, at all. Simply because it's not a Ghostbusters movie. You can show... I mean, it's really easy to be a fan of Ghostbusters, but it's even harder to capture what made Ghostbusters great in the first place. You can show somebody driving around the Ecto-1, you can show somebody wearing the proton packs and, the laser beams and, the PKE meters, you can show them around the firehouse, you can, show, you can try to recreate the humor from it. You can do all that, but it's not Ghostbusters unless you have the essential ingredients as to what made it good in the first place. The ingredients are not there. The humor is off. The writing, at least I've been seeing from trailers, looks completely terrible. And on top of that, it just doesn't feel like it to me. It's one thing to have an all-female cast. That's fine. I can get away with that. But it's another thing to, like, have this even be made at all. The original is a classic. A timeless classic. And, it's funny. It's smart. It's written well. It's interesting. It's three-dimensional. It's, engaging. And on top of that, you have great characters, good writing, as I mentioned a second ago, and on top of that, the effects are just really, even back then and now, they're still really good. Why? Because people took it seriously. That's it. This is why the new movie's gonna fail. It's not taking itself seriously. It's not being engaging or interesting. I mean, Paul Feig, he has done some pretty good work. He did Bridesmaids, which was a really smart comedy that, worked on its own. And on top of that, it was, engaging, interesting. It's not for everybody, but at least it's competent. At least it works. Ghostbusters 2016 looks like they have a license, but they're not they're not doing anything with it. They're just showing all these CG effects. I mean, yeah, they have Slimer, they have the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, they have that. And I mean, I've been hearing that the original cast makes cameos. Whatever, that's fine. Whatever, but back on track. It's not. There's no heart to it. There's no weight to it. It's just a bunch of stuff that we haven't seen from Bridesmaids or any like stuff like Super Bad or Knocked Up or things like that. So I don't know, guys. I have no intention on seeing this movie. I have no reason to see this movie. I don't. It's not. I'm not gonna spend my money on something that I know is gonna tank. Because there's only three ways that this movie could bomb. Number one, poor box office receipts. It's not. It's hardly making any money. Number two, bad critical reviews, both with critics and with audiences. I mean, some people may like it, but not very many people will. I guarantee you, it's not gonna get a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes for sure. And third, both. I'm not going to see it ever. Okay? I'm not going to see it ever. I'm not going to see it in theaters at full price, at discount price. I'm not going to rent it on DVD. I'm not going to buy it on DVD. And not that I do this and not that I care, but I'm not even going to rent it on demand. It's that simple, guys. I'm not doing it at all. Maybe you like this sort of thing. Maybe you like crude humor. Maybe you like, a sort of satire parody of Ghostbusters, which is fine. But I'm telling you, you're gonna get duped. Just ignore it. I'm not gonna show my support. I just wanted to kind of talk about this because I would go into detail about, why this doesn't work, but it's just going to be me repeating what everybody else has already said, and some of my reasonings are pretty much the same as everybody else's, but the big reason as to why I'm not going to bother with it, or see it, or rent it, or buy it, whatever, is because it's not Ghostbusters. I would rather play, the NES Ghostbusters game, or that, PS3 and Xbox 360 game, that actually did really, really well. I would rather play that. I would rather play any of the Ghostbusters games that are floating around out there. Any one of those, even the bad ones, than watch this movie. And while on the topic, there's going to be a Ghostbusters 2016 tie-in game that's going to be released later this year. I might check that out if I actually own a PS4. Maybe at discount price or something. As far as this movie is concerned, when all is said and done, I'm not going to see this movie. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to rent it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just not going to see this new movie. I'm just not. I'm not going to waste my time with it. We may not have gotten that Ghostbusters 3 that we've all wanted, but we did not need to deserve this. We did not need this. No review, guys. No review of Ghostbusters 2016. I refuse.